Well, with the rain, I have moved into the tent. I'm dining in the tent. That's what I'm doing. You can probably hear the rain hitting the tent. That tarp setup that I did is working pretty well. You can see there's a big gap at the top there, and there's a gap over here too, but it's not affecting anything. The rain's not coming in. I set my little table up here. This was a bench I made out of scrap pieces of wood when I was in the apartment above the bank in Perth. I was there for 28 years. And I made up this little bench so that I could put it outside my door to take my boots off and stuff in the wintertime. I put my boots underneath it, a little cubby hole under there for my boots. But that was in the days before the fire regulations forbade us to have anything in the hallways. And when you could still put your boots outside and not have anybody steal them. Although one time I did have somebody steal my boots. But the boots were pretty worn out anyway. But anyway, I was telling my old friend Cliff Telford that had the wrecking yard about it, because I went back in there one day in the wintertime and I was just wearing running shoes. And he asked me where my boots were. And I told him that they had been stolen from outside my door. But in the next week or whatever after that, I showed up there again. And his wife opened the door and yelled at me. She said his wife could be kind of blunt, you know. She didn't fool around. She just passed away recently, actually. Cliff's been gone since 2012. Anyway, Cliff's wife, Georgina, she opened up the door and she yelled at me. She said, "Tom, get in here. Cliff wants to see you." You know, that's the way she was, eh? I thought I was in some trouble. I thought he was mad at me. I went in there anyway, and here he had a pair of boots for me. You know, he had a pair of boots. He asked me what size my feet were, and I told him, and he said, "Well, these will fit you." They were brand new boots that he had there anyway. So that was kind of him anyway. And I've had that experience different times in life where people have done things like that for me. And I told him, I said, "Well, really, I'm better off than I was before, because," I said, "the boots that were stolen were worn right out," you know. And he said, "Well, yes, these ones were brand new." And he said, "Well, that's good." He said, "There's nothing wrong with ending up better off than you were before." So, anyway, I'll never forget that. Anyway, that was one of the many nice things that those people did for me, and I never did forget that anyway. But here we go. There's my stuff right there anyway. So a special shout out to Cliff and Georgina Telford anyway for that. Did have to burn a lot of pasta today because it's all moldy. Anything you have in that camper goes moldy. My clothes are moldy. My food's moldy. My bed is full of mold. Everything's mold. Anyway, still, it's shelter of some sort, and I'm lucky to have it. With the current situation in the world, there's a lot of people just wandering the streets with nothing but the clothes on their backs and maybe whatever they can carry in a backpack. You know, it's terrible what's happening in the world these days. It's going right back to what it was back in the 1930s. Only even worse in some respects, because in the 1930s they made allowances for the poor. You know, you could buy an old wreck of a car and drive it across the country and find work of some sort, you know, and do that fairly cheaply and live in the car as you went. Can't do stuff like that anymore very easily. Anyway, it's expensive to do anything now. Anyway, this is good. This is actually really good. This is my pasta. I found some pasta that wasn't moldy because it was in a glass jar. And it's macaroni. And I got my homemade sauce with the diced up fresh tomatoes, extra virgin olive oil, and Plockman's garlic seasoning on it. Because when it's Plockman's, you know it's good. There you go. I'll be waiting for my check from Plockman's for that little plug. Anyway, it is actually quite good. It is good. I'm not lying when I say that. I'm kind of being a smart aleck, I guess, in a way, but it actually is really good. That's good stuff.